Oh no, Daddy is carrying me. Oh no, Daddy is carrying me. In a poll I did some time ago, you all wanted me to see every ending of Strayed. That was really fun, actually. And the one who won second place was Daddy Mason from The Price of Flesh. I don't mind Mason. I don't mind Mason a lot. Wait a minute. What's Meme Lord mode? What's Meme Lord mode? What is that? I guess we got a lot to go through, so with the help of a trusty walkthrough, let's see if we can ruin Mason's day even more, or he can ruin mine. Okay, following the walkthrough to get the ending, your flame went out. I thought I got this already. Walk deeper into the woods. Let's get up on that tree. Ugh. Get shot, hide, and then what? Thankfully none of these are timed. Or wait, are they? Okay, it says I need to lower my sanity by 20. Or 50. Ooh. Alright, this looks like we're gonna be here a while. Okay, nice. So now we make a fire. Right? And then what? I never want to go camping. Oh, walk towards the cabin. Did I do it wrong already? How do I get to the cabin? How do I get to the cabin? Whoops. Wait, what happened? What did I do? Was that one of the endings I needed? I don't remember. Gosh darn it. Oh, okay, walk towards the cabin. And then what? Yeah, my sanity's good and low. Walk towards the cabin. Click on your flint and steel. Okay. I guess we make a oh, wait a minute. Why didn't I think of this before? Now there's an idea. I'm going to die here, but I don't have to go down alone. There are dry twigs everywhere. I got up close to the cabin. I struck the flint. It only took a couple of tries. My heart was pounding. It spread surprisingly quickly. Why did I think of that the last time? Got him! When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad. I don't want your dang lemons. What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Espoir du vide lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to create a combustible lemon that burns your cabin down. 1 minute it was a flickering flame, the next a towering inferno engulfing the front of the cabin. I could feel the heat, and I took a few steps back, and froze. Behind me, his thick arm was around my throat before I could turn around. Whoops. My feet left the ground briefly from the force of it. I grasped at his elbow and tried to yell. I couldn't get much sound out. You! Yeah? So, you may kill me, but your cabin's on fire. He was growling in my ear. Think you're clever, eh? Uh-huh. I'd just be mocking him the entire way. The arm around my neck tightened. A strange twinge of pain told me that if he choked me any harder, my neck would snap. Stop! That's not what I was saying. Just, he's got me in a chokehold and I'm all like, you mad, bro? My plea was ignored as he lifted my now limp body. I heard the explosion of something inside the cabin and watched the flames tower higher. I felt another pop, but this time it wasn't the fire. I could no longer feel anything, yet the fire danced and I smiled. As I blacked out, I could hear him roaring in anger. The satisfied grin stayed on my face. Ah! Best ending. I don't know if I've said it before, but that's one of the best endings in this game. Got him. I mean, I'm dead, but got him. The walkthrough said this one was fun. They were right. Okay, what fun time are we going to have now? You smelled delicious. Uh-oh. I think we're gonna meet a new friend here. I approached the water of the creek. I could see movement under the water. Fish! Fish were fighting the current, even in the shallow parts of the creek. I saw some, barely moving, resting on the lee of rocks. Get the fish! I quickly sprung into action. I ran back into the bush and found a long stick. I tried to move as quickly as possible. I didn't know how long the fish would be there. I kept an eye on one fish in particular as I pulled out my small knife to whittle a point in the stick. That's a good idea. Once I was satisfied with my spear, I approached the creek again. My heart was pounding. I'm probably only going to have one chance at this. My target was practically still. I readied my weapon. Now! With a furious splashing under my strike, I knew I had done it right. Yeah! The other fish vanished as I waited for my victim to stop moving. I pulled it out carefully. I did it! I got a fish! Yay! Fish! Sure hope nobody else wants that fish. It says with 2 exclamation points in the walkthrough, don't eat the fish! Hang out by the rocks and light a fire so you don't get the wrong ending. Okay. Can I sleep? Ah! I woke to a slam on my chest. Is this the end? Okay, yeah, this... Oh, that was fast. I could barely make sense of the pain as my brain struggled to wake up in a panic. Bear! Listen here, Mr. or Mrs. Bear. A dark, enormous shape covered me. Then I heard the loud sniffing and began to make out some details in the dark. A bear! Ah, bear! I screamed involuntarily, and the bear reacted. Inches of claws sank into my chest, with an impossible weight behind them. I fumbled for my knife. I managed to grasp it and take a swipe at the face in front of me. It screamed with me. I mean, you're pretty fluffed if you come up in front of a bear, but I don't know, maybe you can out-scream a bear. Not this bear, though. I kept screaming as huge jaws clamped down on my neck. Ooh. My scream became a gurgle as the flesh from my throat was torn away. I had no time to process anything. Thankfully, everything went dark quickly. In a way, as everything faded, I thought this beast was merciful. Better not be a bear trained by Mason. You smell delicious. Oh, I like fear and sweat. I got bared. Oh well, that's probably the least weird thing to happen in these games. The water is still? What could that imply? Okay, it says I have to go around, get the red berries, draw everything on the map. Yeah, so we go back up to that creepy, spooky swamp. And then we eat the red berries at the swamp? Okay. And then what happens? The berries were horribly bitter. I couldn't manage any more than a handful. A few minutes after eating them, I began to feel uneasy. Ugh. Are they not the good berries? I thought it was the red ones. I felt a strange pressure on my head. I shook my head, trying to get it to stop. Bright blue shapes exploded into my vision. I fell backwards. Oh no! I couldn't get up. The entire universe seemed to be swirling around me, like I was in a snow globe. I tried to gently lie down as the pain started. Oh no, my sanity! My stomach, all my guts were on fire. I was barely aware of myself anymore as I writhed and moaned on the ground. My heart was fluttering. The water. I sunk my fingers into the cold, damp earth. I pulled my body forward over the rocks and rotting leaves. Trees, roots, leaves, dirt, spines spinning. The air moved and breathed with me, heaving, pulsing. The water is still. I touched the surface of the dark mirror. Apparently the water is still. I clawed at the ground and dragged my body to it. Shaking, grasping, I plunged my hands into the bog. I pulled myself forward. What's in the water? That's one of my fears. I have thalassophobia. I slipped under the surface silently. The water closed around me. The buzzing, pulsing pain faded from my body. Gravity and light disappeared. Water, cool and soothing, flowed onto me. I felt held. Beep! Is this the spirit of the forest? You're here early. That cold voice. Are you a Are there fae? Are you a fairy? Are you a fairy? Have you been lonely? A bit. I keep trying to flirt with Mason. He won't respond to me. I made no answer. I couldn't. I understand. I've been lonely too. And so empty. Don't worry. You can stay here. You will stay in the water. Okay. I stayed in the water. What was that? Was that magic? Was that a hallucination? I think it's magic. Is there magic? I mean, there's a little fox boy. Is there magic? Were you a fairy? Why was the water still? I know it said there were bones in it last time. I don't know. I don't know. Let's just die some other way. It says to stay in the clearing, just kind of standing there like a bird looking up at the rain, and until Mason shoots you twice. So now I've got 2 arrows in my knees like Ace Ventura. I heard a loud crack. I jumped at the sound and whipped around, looking for the source. I spotted it easily and stumbled backwards. I stared in horror at the bolt protruding from the tree bark next to me. Oh, he didn't shoot me this time, even though I was standing there. I turned to where the end of the bolt was pointing and saw him. Everything felt so slow, like I was trying to move during a nightmare. I saw the second bolt in the air. I felt the punch and yank on my arm. Ugh. I was knocked off balance and fell backwards with a soft thud. I was still a deer in headlights. I wanted to scream, but it felt like it was stuck inside my throat. Finally, I began to gain control of my body again and began to scramble as a boot landed on my chest. No, wait, Daddy! You're not so hard to find, are you?
No, I just kind of stood there. I just wanted to see your emerald eyes again.
I strained against his weight as he bent down. My eyes widened as he grabbed the bolt currently through my arm.
Ugh. No! Ugh.
He yanked it from my flesh in one mercilessly rough motion. I screamed loudly and clearly. It seemed to ring through the cold air. I realized he leaned closer as I gasped for air. You got an animal scream.
Why, thank you.
Gets the heart pumping. Why are you doing this? None of these matter. I wish there was one troll thing to see, like, do that again. Like, do it again. Or better yet, to moan and just really throw him off balance. Why are you doing this? I yelled at him and struggled. He looked at me for a moment before letting out a small huff of a laugh. Aye, you think I'm crazy then? You are! Yeah, you're pretty cray-cray, Fram. You're pretty cray-cray. Does anyone even say cray-cray anymore? You know what happens to deer without wolves?
What the heck is he talking about?
He seemed to pick up on my confusion. Deer. They multiply and eat everything. Then they get sick. They starve and die. He paused for a moment, as if I was supposed to get some punchline. I mean, yeah, deer, if unregulated, can be highly destructive to the forest. Everything needs to be hunted. People are getting mighty sick out there. I shivered. He's completely insane.
Yeah, he cray-cray.
He flashed a small grin. So, how's the leg holding up? Oh wait, was I supposed to do something with that? Ah! Okay, no, I did not follow the directions. I fix it up later. His words made me look down. Dark blood was caked all around my thigh, soaked through my pants. I almost didn't notice him licking his thumb before he had it pressed to the wound on my leg. Don't. I had no time to react.
Ah!
I cried out, hoarsely, as he shoved his thumb deep into my thigh. My cry ended in a wheezing sob as I tried to curl in on myself. The pain was blinding. Ouch! Careful now. I began to shake involuntarily as he stood up. A hole like that's gonna slow you down. You are gravely wounded. Thanks, Daddy. I still cannot deny. He's quite the looker. Oh, the dad bod. I tried to hold my injured leg with my bleeding arm. He stepped away from me, and to my surprise, began backing away. You jerk! How dare you? I just watched in confusion as he nodded to me once and then turned to walk away. Just gonna stick your thumb in my leg, not even take me to dinner first, and just walk away.
What?
He disappeared into the trees. Why was he leaving me? Why won't he stay? I squeezed my torn-up arm and tried to avoid thinking what I knew was the answer. He was playing with me. Okay, what? Walk through. I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do now? Make a tourniquet by clicking on the knife. I'm not going to last much longer like this. I have to do something. I pulled out the small knife from my bag and looked at my clothing. It's already so cold, but I'm losing too much blood. I started cutting some fabric from the bottom of my shirt. Once I had a couple strips, I began to tie them above the wounds on my arm and leg. I winced in pain. I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish I wasn't here. I steeled myself and tied the knots tight. This should help me last a little bit longer. Oh, the bleeding is slowed. That's nice. Now what? Okay, then relax by the fire until 3 or 4 a.m. And then what? Then put it out and go to sleep.
Okay.
Put out the fire and go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. He was chasing me. I ran through the trees. The hollow thud of my feet on rotting ground echoed my heartbeat. Wind and branches clawed at my body, desperately clinging tighter and tighter as I ran with more desperation, my footfalls increasing pace with the terror bubbling up, threatening to choke me. Then suddenly, I spilled out into the open. I gasped and sucked in a breath. I filled myself with the damp and gentle decay. It was warm and welcome. Are there some fairies? Are there some, death fairies in here? A gravity pulls my attention to the water. Black water. The inky surface was as still as the night around me. Something pulled me. I stepped forward into the water. I wandered forward, deeper, beckoned. As I slid deeper, my legs brushed against roots, claws, bones. Ugh. Yeah, you! Who are you? What are you? Are you a fae? Did Mason anger the fairies? So, you've started to wander. I couldn't move. A deep sense of dread filled me to the core. Hunter's prey. This place and time will define you. I'll be waiting. Or like you, the spirit of the hunt or something. A cold wind rushed through the trees, and my screen is very red. I tried to shield myself from the bite. The pain in my limbs and face felt like tiny knives. Walk through, I'm still alive. What am I supposed to do? I had a kooky dream. Oh, for this one, my health needs to be 20 or lower. It's pretty low. It's pretty low. I clutched at my leg. The ache kept coming in waves. I was looking down at the ground in front of me when I heard the click. I froze. Aw, man! Ugh. The last thing I heard was his whistling. As if this is just a normal occurrence, Mason. I don't like the name of this ending. Search inside the cabin until my energy gets low. I got to work searching inside the cabin. I checked the shelves and cupboards. I tried to ignore the fake glass eyes and the open skull sockets watching me. Tools for cooking and carving. Strange dark brown leather and furs. Everything seemed to be handmade. How could there be nothing useful? I'm sure you could find something. It was a small, albeit somewhat creepy living area. Not a single weapon, at least nothing bigger or more dangerous than the knife I already have. I sighed in frustration. I'm not sure I should stay here long. Let's stay here long. Fall asleep in the... Is that what it says? Search the cabin until your energy gets too low and you fall asleep. Okay. So, do I... go to... Sleeping here would be crazy. I'm not sure I should stay here long. Alright, so I fall asleep involuntarily. Alright. Oh no. One more, my energy. Oh no. Oh dear, oh no. I'm so sorry, me in the game. My vision wavered. I tried to move, but I couldn't. It's nice and warm in here. I looked around the cabin and easily found a large bed. A real bed. I crawled onto the soft surface. Like the rest of the furniture, it was covered in furs. Oh, I bet that feels lovely. Who cares anymore? It's just as dangerous anywhere else. I might as well be comfortable. I curled up on the blankets and furs and immediately dozed off. As I felt my body gently swaying for a moment, I was lost in time, living in the memory of being almost entirely asleep as a parent carried me off to my own bed. No, this isn't right. Oh dear. Oh no, Daddy is carrying me. Oh no, Daddy is carrying me. He's looking at me so tenderly. This is not going to end well. I jolted awake, almost stiff at the face of the man holding me. Good morning, Goldilocks. He chuckled, and then I chuckled because that's a good one. I was sleeping in your bed, and now you're going to murder me. Though, I suppose it's more evening than morning. This can't be real. I squirmed for a moment, and his grip immediately went from gentle to crushing. Hey, not so fast. You're all out of run anyway. A calloused hand squeezed my arm. I can feel you've gone all soft. How was he holding me so tightly? I felt like my bones were grinding together. I bet he gives great hugs. If he didn't intend to murder. I wheezed in pain. Then I realized he'd carried me outside. Where? Aw, really? By the way, the name of this ending is You Lost Your Head. Why? Was that even necessary? This is the You've Changed ending. For the ending where I already get Mason, that's in the other video. But what is You've Changed? Apparently, This is one of the hardest endings to get, so thankfully, thank you to this person, to Ghosty, who has made this amazing walkthrough. Finally! Good gracious, that was difficult to get. Even following the directions, sometimes a noose would appear, or sometimes I would just go the wrong way instead of the place that I wanted to go. Man, that was hard, but to get this ending, you have to spend, I think, 3 or 4 in-game nights without dying. I could barely move my stiff body. I shook myself awake and stood up slowly. I watched as the flames in front of me died. I felt a spark of cold on my face. Ooh. I looked up to the sky. It's snowing. I stared up at the moon. This is it, isn't it? I can't make a fire anymore. I'm starving and there's nothing left to eat. It's been days. I've gone past the point of panic. Then, past the point of despair. Around me, snow began falling in clumps, silently obscuring the world surrounding me, like a dream. I looked up at the snow slowly pouring from the sky. I didn't know I could be so alone. My buddy! You have never been alone. I spun around, trying to find the voice. It didn't seem to come from any direction. Hello? Are you a fairy? I guess it isn't so strange to be hearing voices now. I stilled myself and tried to listen. You don't have to be afraid. Who are you? I don't need a name anymore. Anymore? I've been watching you. I'm probably not even hearing anyone. I'm just hallucinating. You move in a delicate way, a timid touch with time. I've watched you dip your toes in the water just to step back, always stepping back. You just want me to go in the water. I shivered in the darkness. You have tasted death before, though, haven't you? Yes, 35 times. What? I felt a hint of warmth as a tear rolled down my cheek. Was that how many times I've died in this whole game? How dare you? You just got a tally board full of marks. Like, oh, she died again. The voice was so soft now. There's no more chrome and glass. No more howling into empty streets. You came here to the root and bone, softly rotting. I stepped forward. I tried to speak, but my face was so cold. I fell to my knees. Shh. I found a place on the edge of a knife, between decay and the devil. You've come home. You'll never hurt again. I looked up as the snow landed on my face, at the moon. Yes, you belong with me. Something wrapped around me. The pain from the cold slipped away, just as the voice promised. I got to my feet and I began walking. The forming ice crystals under my skin were crunching, but I walked anyway. There was no pain, and I wasn't in control anymore. I did? And here I thought this ending meant I was going to become a cold-blooded killer. Did I become a fairy? Is this different music? I like it. Apparently I became a fairy. What you gonna do now, Mason? Okay, the last ending for Mason that I have to do, wait, let me double check, is you made a friend. Who is my friend? Is it my fairy friend? I looked carefully around the tall grasses of the meadow. By the rotting remains of a tree trunk, I spotted something white. I looked more closely, brushing away the dirt and decaying leaves. Bones. It seemed like most of the skeleton was missing, but from what I could see, it looked like it was a deer. I remembered the creature from my dream. Maybe these can help me.
I got some bones.
I gathered a couple of the most intact bones and put them in my backpack. Ooh, and then what do? A couple of bones I found in the meadow. I think they belonged to a deer. Offer the bones to the swamp? Bone fairy. Bone fairy is a thing. I mean, that's basically the tooth fairy. I approached the edge of the inky swamp. Maybe I've gone crazy. I looked down at the bones I was holding. But if the nightmare was real, at the very least, this will make me feel better. I dropped the bones into the water. Ah! You've returned, and you've brought me a gift. The voice was quiet and calm, but I couldn't quite tell where it was coming from. I couldn't look away from the unreal creature in front of me. Just like my nightmare, I couldn't move. You're different, aren't you? Did it want me to respond? I slowly nodded. It seemed pleased. Maybe it's time for the beast to meet his end. Pray, Espoir. Who are you, friend? Are you a bone fairy? I've seen his dreams. There's a loaded gun behind the bear's skin. Oh! My eyes widened. Is this thing serious? If I can just get it. Huh? Hello? Fairy friend? Just the breeze through the trees. I shook my head. Was that even I'll be watching. I whipped around and looked for the source of the voice. Nothing but the swamp. I slowly opened the door of the cabin. I wasn't sure if I was shaking from the cold or from worry. I moved it slowly, terrified of making a sound. Eventually, I was able to peek inside. Dark. I opened the door and poked my head in. Once my eyes adjusted, I could see bones and furs. It smelled musty, but it was warm. A sort of cozy, in a way. All right, so, let's look around. I remembered what that voice from the swamp told me. I looked around the room and spotted a thick bear hide hung on the wall behind me. I tentatively grabbed it and looked behind it. I gasped. Carved into the wooden wall was a shelf just big enough to hold a Winchester rifle. A gun. Golly! I carefully grabbed it and checked. It's loaded. My friend was right. My heart pounded in my ears. This changes everything. I looked towards the cabin door. It looks like I'm the hunter now. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting daddies. I decided my best bet would be to wait here, where it's warm. He has to come back here sometime. The minutes stretched into hours. They seemed to last days, with how tense I was. I almost jumped up when I heard those heavy footsteps approaching from outside. This is it. I aimed the rifle at the door and tried to breathe evenly. The knob rattled. Everything seemed to be moving in slow motion. He swung the door open, and I fired. Got him! How do you like them apples, sir? For what felt like a whole minute, we just stared at each other. Then the spell was broken, and he fell to his knees. For a moment, I saw something strange. The smallest smile. Almost like he was proud. Daddy's proud of me. Or maybe I was just imagining things. He slumped to the floor, and I kept the rifle on him. I fired again, just to make sure. Double tap. Good on ya. And he didn't move. It took several more minutes for me to gain the courage to step forward and move again. I mean, even if he wasn't dead, he's not gonna be happy for very long. He's really dead. I kicked his body. I began to breathe easily. Now this whole cabin belongs to me and my new friend, the fairy. Now I just have to get out of here. Oh, slow down. Rest on that bed. Eat some food. Even though that probably would be a nightmare, though. It's like anybody else is going to be here. As I tried to clear my head, I heard the faintest whisper. You did well.
Thank you.
Hunter. Oh. He's not calling me praying anymore. Once again, I looked around in vain for the source of the voice. Then I shook my head. I won't be distracted. I searched the cabin and the body. It didn't take long to find keys and a way out of here. I made my way back to civilization. I made my way back to my home. I never talked about what happened to me, or the man I killed. Hey, he started it. He started it. I mean, I guess technically whoever kidnapped me started it, but he brought this on himself. And after some time, for the most part, I managed to rest easy, aside from the odd, strange nightmare about an endless river and a voice that told me I'd come home soon.
Yay! I lived, and I made a friend, and I got all of Mason's endings. Whoopee!
Worth it. Worth it. How is that so worth it? To get a cute little animation every time you complete all the things. That is so worth it. Just... It's so cute. And he loves his knife, Sandy. Aww. I don't mind Mason. He's a horrible person. Hands down. Horrible, absolutely disgusting human being. But I like him. As hot as he is, it's much more fun to laugh in his face when you get him. But I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, or be sure to vote the next time I put out a poll, and I'm gonna go lay down or something.